Welcome back to another episode of Unleashed podcast. Today I'm here with multiple world champion Andre Boysen-Hillestad, son of the legend Lena Boysen-Hillestad, the most decorated athlete within sled dog sports. Welcome, Andre.
Thanks.
You're listening to Unleashed by Nonstop Dogwear.
And today we will be talking about line-out training. That is something when Lena was racing the dogs like you had together, then I don't think that team was known for standing still.
No.
But in the past few years, we can really see that you can pretty much start without a handler and the dogs are just amazing. But for those who do not know, what is line-out? What do we mean by that?
Line out is when you are standing with your dogs at maybe the start line and the dogs are completely still and ready to run and not barking and jumping and stuff like that.
Do you have, is the line set or the bungee tight?
Yeah, it is. So it's really nice when you start because then all the dogs are ready at the same time. And the dogs are not, the front dogs are not going forward and the rear dogs not going backwards. Everyone are going in front or forward at the same time.
It's also not this like sudden push maybe if the line
Because
is
then you
already
lose
tight.
some few seconds.
And yeah, like on the top level, it is all about the seconds.
Yeah.
Do you have any preference if the dog should stand or sit or lay or anything?
Just stand still. I prefer that because then they are ready.
When you start, you start with the puppies. Like, how do you start training this for them?
Usually the puppies learn it by the other dogs. So the first one was a little bit, let's say, more crazy, and the next generation is more calmer, and the next will be more calmer. So
But you also actually recently and like also during the time you have sometimes that older dogs come back to you or you buy an older dog who did not necessarily know this from before. How do you train them?
the strange thing is that they just look at the others and they are standing still. But the one I just got now, he is a little bit more crazy, so he wants to run, but usually he stands still and are quiet with the others.
Does it affect the other dogs? If a dog comes back and suddenly it's crazy in the team, do they like start to also act crazy?
Yeah, yesterday he started barking and trying to push, and then the rest started just a little, but then they silent up. So, and
What do you do in this case?
I try to be calm and tell them to be quiet. So then it usually goes well.
So you just basically wait
Yeah.
until they all stand
Be
still.
patient and never let the dogs win. So when I started training for it, I used a lot of time. So after work, I was so exhausted and I was not having it barking and jumping and because it was so much stress and I couldn't handle it alone. So I had to start to train them to be more calm because Lena broke her collarbone, so she was not able to help me. So
It makes a big difference. Like
Yeah.
you're going out training with 6 dogs. If it's 6 crazy dogs, that is not easy to handle. But even like one big dog, it's not easy to go alone. What are some other advantages if your dog knows line out? Like you mentioned that you can start alone, but are there any other things?
I think they are less stressed before start, or not. They don't get exhausted at the starting line.
So you
So
save
they-
some energy there.
I think they save a lot of energy. But people have theories, so you don't know. But that's my personal opinion.
Do you see any disadvantages with that? Because some people say that like, yeah, but you want the dog crazy to be like really eager to run. But
I don't see disadvantage because then they can hear you saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and be ready. But if they are barking, they may be hard for them to hear you say okay. So our word is okay, and then it's magic for them.
when you started training with them, I see it like on myself, especially with like young big dogs. They're going crazy. They are just like pulling the scooter so hard. So you kind of just want to like start and not like wait there and suffer really. do you ever feel like, okay, now today I just like want to go?
Never. I never let them win. I am the boss and they should listen to me.
So be very consequent. In
Every
order.
time. So I never skipped once when I try to learn them. So if I had bad time for training, I had just to cancel this and finish my training because they had to be calm before I started.
Do you see that they act the same on competition, or are they crazier on the competition?
And I think they are more calmer because when the other dogs are barking and I'm just walking up with the dogs calmly and the dogs in front of me are barking and the dogs behind me are barking and my team are just standing there and looking at me and yeah, just calm. And then I see the other dogs are getting a little bit tired and my dogs are then ready for the energy. So maybe they get some advantage for some seconds. Yeah.
Do you feel the connection also became better? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like that you
It's
have like a good connection with the dogs.
Butter lies in my stomach every time they are standing still and the rest are crazy. And I'm just so proud of them.
That's very nice to hear. It's amazing to see what you managed to do with them. They're like, yeah, really just standing there without a handler, waiting in a mass start even. They are just like, yeah. So that's crazy. I think we have a lot to learn from you there. Did you have any issues with dogs that would... because I have now a young dog and I have been following a bit your recipe that like, okay, when they want to go, I just like stand on the brakes, like brace myself and wait until they stand still and then they get to go. Even if it's like we have a training together with others and they left a long time ago, I'll wait until they calm down. But now I have a young dog and he backs up and just like goes around the scooter and it's just like it gets all tangled up and everything. And then I find it like, oh my God, it's just like so hard. Do you have any tips for this?
I actually haven't had any problem with that, but maybe just try to take the dogs or the dog in front and tell him maybe to sit or stay and go back and do it until he catches it to stay there. Or maybe give him treats when you are just having him on leash. And maybe, I only know the Norwegian, sitt og bli.
Sit and stay.
Yeah.
Do you only start with this training once the puppies are old enough to run in the team, or do you also practice a bit beforehand?
I try to practice a little bit beforehand, but the puppies usually learn from the older ones. So the younger one now, she is crazy and wants to run, but she are standing still.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes.
Is she running in the team already?
No, she's not running in the team, but she are not barking when the other ones are running.
Oh, that's very cool.
She's just stays there and wants to run. So.
Because I think that's something that like, anyone can practice with their puppies. People are so eager to like, oh, I want to like start training my puppy. You can, but it doesn't have to be pulling. You can.
But we have a field at home that's fenced, 10 acres or 10 by 10, 100 by 100 meters. And there she runs free with the other dogs, and then she gets a lot of good training, and she learns from the others. So I feel like we have a big advantage of having this big field at home.
Yes, definitely. Would you recommend people that want to train to train together with others?
Yeah, because then you can train passing each other. And trying to passing on the left and passing on the right, and maybe make some noise when you're passing because someone has maybe bikes that makes a little bit noise or something, so the dogs doesn't get scared. But usually we train alone in the woods, but I like to train with others as well, because then they can learn from me and I can learn from them, because I don't know everything. So
It's very nice. But you actually now said that you're training, like by yourself in the forest.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons you also wanted calm dogs was because you often train in the evening or sometimes like early morning, and then maybe it's not the best to wake up the whole neighborhood.
So I started to train them to be calm because I was not having it after work because I was exhausted. And then I felt like a whole new world when they were listening to me and standing still. And it's so much better when you come to places where it's a lot of people, because then you don't interrupt them.
Yes.
So it's really nice to have them like that.
But when you started training this, then your dogs were not puppies, actually. They were
No,
like
they were
racing
like,
age already.
5 years old.
How long did it take you from because they were like quite eager and crazy in the beginning, to go from that to like calm dogs?
I actually don't remember, but I've done it for 3.5 years now. So I started, and then I had to wait for maybe 20 minutes, and then next time was 15 minutes, and then it was like that for maybe half a year, and then it got better. And sometimes they were just crazy and wanted to run, and other times they were just standing still. And then one time, when I was at work, Lena was training the dogs and brought the two, I call them puppies, but they were maybe 8 months old. And they were just standing still and not barking. And they've never done it before, and they were just standing there.
Amazing.
So she was really impressed, like, wow, they are, they learned from the others, and I haven't even told them anything. So the puppies learn from the adults.
So you kind of like, in a way, have to put in the work once with one team, and after that it's almost like a self-going thing, as long as you're like, consistent
all
and
the time.
consequent. Do it all the time.
But what I started with was like, when they were barking, I tried making the dog food, and I took out of the dog yard, and I opened the gate, and I went inside the house, and maybe went to talk to my dad or mom, and went out again, and then they were just standing there. But they were stressed, and some of them were not barking, but was wanting to go and making noise. And then I maybe went into the garage and made some noise, and then I took some stones and threw them away, and they were just looking like, what did you do? So maybe do things they don't expect.
So, because before they were also crazy when you were feeding them, that they were making a lot of sound there.
But they are making noise sometimes in the dog yard, but usually it's completely still, and I like that.
But in general, you try to practice this, that they have to stay calm also like outside of the training situation.
But it's hard because they are really eager to run at the field, so I try, and Lena try, but they are more crazy there. But when they are having a leash on and like connected to the bike or sled, then they are completely different. Then they are angels.
Yeah. I think also then it's in a way a more controlled environment. When they run free, it's only about like, chasing and getting crazy, and they like really build each other up. While when they are in the team and attached, it's like, it's just a different mentality of work there.
So now I'm trying to train them to sit before they go outside the house, because we have our own room in our house where they are staying. And I try to get them to sit or wait or not run everyone through the gate at the same time, because it can be injuries.
Yes, these, especially when it's a lot of dogs together, then it's really
Usually
dangerous.
5 or 6 dogs are out at the same time at the small door, so it's...
That can be chaos.
Yeah, and some injuries, so I have to practice more for them to be more calm when they're walking out or inside, because every time it's first dog out, first dog in.
Did you also practice just like the stay part otherwise? Like in some sort of, just like basic obedience?
No, not actually.
Only in these situations that like, they have to sit and wait until something happens. Very cool.
But when they are alone, only had 2 dogs, it's so much easier, because then they're more calm. But when they are a whole group, they are like, now let's run.
Yes, because you right now you have, I think, 6 dogs in training, or?
Yeah, 6 dogs or 7, but the one is not old enough. Before the World Championship, then she's old enough.
Yeah. So that is like, a pretty big team.
Yeah.
How is it when you go from the car to the starting line? Are they also calm down?
It depends, but sometimes I can walk with them calmly, and sometimes they are dragging but not making noise. So it depends, but if I'm doing the sled,
Yes.
I just stand on the spike brake
Yes.
and going calmly up to the start.
Then it's, easier. The focus is on, like
And then I
in
feel
the
like a
start,
king when they are just walking.
the king of the race venue.
Yeah.
I am so impressed by people that can do this. I think my dogs are like pretty, or at least one of my racing dogs, he's pretty okay in line out, but to get from the car to the starting line, oh my God, that is the
I've seen
first
some
part.
people that have this problem.
So, any good tips are
But the reason I chose to start with it or practice it is because, first of all, Lena broke her collarbone, and I saw my dad's dogs was quiet before start, and German people had dogs that was completely still, and 10 dogs just walking calmly, and I was thinking, wow, it would be nice to have dogs like that. And then I practice it, and it paid off.
Did you get any tips from your father in the beginning?
Yeah, he told me to lay down and do stuff like on the ground or throw rocks or go make the food or take the dog. So I did everything he told me, and I just waited if they were crazy.
Yes.
And then suddenly they understood what I wanted. So
But when you were doing this, that like, picking like dog poop in the dog yard or laying down, etc., at the end, you still went back to the team when they were calm and then started training, or not necessarily
then
sometimes?
I went back and sit on the quad, for example, and I waited till they were calm for maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and then it was okay, go. And then I could wait longer. But the first times, I allowed them to be quiet for maybe 4 seconds, and then it was okay.
Yeah.
But now I can just sit and wait for maybe Lena for a minute or two, and they are just standing there completely still.
But in the end, the reward is that they get to run.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Just to be clear, the thing I talked about, throwing rocks and going to the garage, the dogs were already in the team. So if they were crazy, I went off the quad and started making dog food and taking the dog shit and walk inside. And when I came out again, they were still or calm. So
It's
I had
always,
to
in
practice
the
that.
mindset.
And if they didn't want to listen to me, I just went inside because they were shocked, like, wait, did you just walk from me? Or
Are we going to do something,
Yeah.
or did he just leave us here?
so that helped me a lot.
So like a useful spend of time while you're waiting for them
Yeah.
to calm down. Clean up
Taking
a
a
bit
glass
around.
of water inside, or
I think we got like a lot of amazing tips here. So I think what is left is if you could say just like one general tip that you want for our listeners to know, what would it be?
never give up, and make sure you're the boss all the time, and never let the dog win, because at the end it pays off.
Oh, and I see that, like you have an amazing connection with the dogs. So it's very well done. Thank you so much for joining us, Andre, and for all the great tips.
Thanks for inviting me.
And good luck for your season.
Thank you.